couple questions about Isaac Hodges. When he plays fullback, you're his coach?
No, it's usually Coach Wise that works with him.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Well, I guess I was going to ask you, how you guys looked at him and said, oh, he might work over at this side of the line.
That's probably more Wise. I would ask Wise that.
Oh, okay.
Obviously I got my opinion, but
I was just curious.
yeah, no worries.
Cal's run defense off to a good start this year. What do you guys got to do to be effective in running into Sunday?
Great question. I mean, the one thing I do know, between Coach Wilcox and Coach Sermon and the rest of that staff, they always have done a good job, defensively as far as making you earn everything you get. I think, for us, overall as a group and as an offense, just being consistent. I think that's the big thing, and the thing that we're trying to emphasize throughout the course of this week is just being consistent on all phases, running backs as far as us, how we're running the ball, where we're aiming points and things like that, just targeting from an O-line perspective, tight ends, and then receivers, obviously getting blocks down the field. So consistency will be the big thing of how we try to attack the defense.
How do you think your group is doing in pass block?
They're doing good. I think, obviously the big thing in protection is it all starts with the pre-snap. And I think the one thing that we are doing is getting ourselves and our eyes right, which is in turn putting us in positions where we're able to get our hands on guys and really do a better job of having a better base and being able to transition as we work to the line of scrimmage to get guys covered up.
I think Deshaun and Damian were held to less than 70 yards total last week against Utah. How do you get them, back in the flow of the offense and get them going this week?
Yeah, and I don't know if you necessarily say they're out the flow of the offense. I think, once again, you play a team like Utah that has a really good defense. Going into this week, I think you come back to the consistency and details and execution when we get our opportunities in the run game. I think after watching last week's film, there's some stuff we need to clean up when it comes to our aiming points and our eyes and things like that in the run game. And, it's a process. That's the one thing that Coach Smith always talks about is sticking with the process. And, we get back to work. We got a good Tuesday practice, get ready for Wednesday, and hopefully build as we work our way to Saturday for the game.
Obviously, you're not scheming up against their running back, but I'm sure you've seen some of Jay Nott and know what he's capable of. What have you seen from him, or what makes him such a good back?
He's another talented kid that's in this league. Obviously, the big thing when you think about this league, when you're talking about some of these backs, and a kid like Jay Nott, he does a great job of transitioning. He's physical. He's hard to bring down as far as tackle, elusive, has really good vision. Anytime you're dealing with a back that has those characteristics and has the opportunity once you get out in the open space to run, they're going to be put together as a really good running combination. And he's one of those kids that has that.
Is it natural for a guy like Damian to look at a game like this and see Jay Nott on the other side? Both sophomores, both had good seasons last year, kind of competitive with each other. I mean, is that something he might look at, a little bit more motivated just to, because of the situation where there's two of the best backs in the league and they're both in the same class and all that stuff?
Gotcha. I haven't talked to him about that, so that'd be probably more of a question for him. I think for our room, one of the things that we were always going to be about is self-improvement as individuals. Deshaun Fenwick needs to be the best Deshaun Fenwick. Damian Martinez needs to be the best Damian Martinez, and on down the line for our group. I think if anything, he is looking at some of the stuff he put on film the past weeks as far as the games and figuring out, okay, how can I take the next step? And part of that is where I can look across and see a guy that's a good player and say, hey, that's the motivation for me to want to take the next step in my details and stuff like that. So be it.
I mean, I'm sure of your career, you've been in situations where like the two best backs in the conference were in the same game. And, I mean, do you ever sense that there's just a little bit more in the gas tank that week for the guy or your guy?
I don't know. Obviously I have been in those games. I think I just go back to so much of our mentality is, we're focused on how we're taking the next step. I do think there is a chip on your shoulder to want to be one of the best in the conference and one of the best in the country. So if that's part of, the motivation when there's a guy that's another top back in the conference, yeah, I'll take it. Whatever you can get to keep these guys motivated, but to say that's something that's talked about in our room, no.
Is there one specific thing that you've been working with Damian this year to improve it as a sophomore?
Great question. I would say there's really two things. I think the more mature he can get in pass protection, and when I say mature, that's top to bottom. I mean, his understanding of fronts, his understanding of where his eyes need to be in the pre-snap, and then being able to take that with the fundamentals and the individual drills to our technique in pass protection, that would be one. I think the second thing is in the run game, with his ability to transition when you're talking about being able to go from speed to power and power to speed, but doing that efficiently. We do a lot of that in individuals. Those would be the two things that we'd be working on.
How do you measure success against a defense like Utah that's just so stout against both the pass and run?
Winning the game. I would say, I just think about it like this. I mean, you rush for 250 and you lose by 21 points, you feel different, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. I would say success is, did you make the plays that you're supposed to make and take advantage of the opportunities that you got? And you kind of heard what I said when we started this interview. It's like there were some opportunities out there where I feel like we left a little bit of meat on the bone. Excited as a team for our win, but I do think in our room there's things where we can be more consistent, and that's really the big thing.
Do you think that first drive, when you guys you got most of your rushing yards, it seemed like on that first drive, do you guys just execute better? What was the key of that first drive?
I mean, you always want to start fast as an offense and as a team. I think we just came out and started fast, and we were ready to play. I'm not saying we weren't ready to play the rest of the game, but I'm just kind of giving you an answer to your question. I think anytime you can come out and you feel like the offensive line, the quarterback, tight end, receivers, everybody, running backs, everybody's on the same page, you're going to feel a sense of urgency and the success in there. But I think that was really it. We just came out and were hot right out the gate. Great momentum. Start with the great momentum from the defense. They got a big stop, and now it's our turn to go out there and play. So it all just kind of, envelopes on top of each other between the defense, the offense, complementary football. Then you add this freaking crowd that we had here on Friday night. It was awesome.
Just from speaking with the guys, it seems like a big message this week is kind of bring your own energy, obviously not playing music during practice and things like that. How do you feel like your guys are motivated, or what motivates them?
Self-improvement. I put a big emphasis on where can we take the next step individually, and that's some of the stuff we did in the run game, how we're going to attack with our fundamentals in the pass protection game as well. I think a big one for us is being able to catch the ball out the backfield consistently. So those three things will help us bring energy, and I think if we can have fun when those things do happen at practice and celebrate those things, that's the energy we'll need as we go through the rest of this week, getting ready for Saturday.
Let's go.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.